Good evening. My name is Alicia Newell, and I am excited to welcome you to this evening's Parent Family Table Talk as we discuss the Cohen Honors College and everything you and your students need to know as you prepare to embark on this journey. I have the privilege of serving as the Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs here at Wichita State. And with me presenting today also is Ms. Kim Sandlin, who serves as the Director of Student Success. Kim, do you want to introduce yourself and your area?
Sure, thanks. Hi, everybody. I'm Kim Sandlin. For those of you who have joined us before, you all could probably give our intros that Alicia and I do every time we are together, but we are both products of Wichita State University and have worked I've worked here for 25 years. I think Alicia hasn't been there that long. She's a little younger than I am, but we've got a lot of experience on campus, and we love what we do, and we love serving you as parents and serving your students while they're on campus. So I'm really here tonight to learn along with all of you, and excited about our group that we have from Honors. I think they have a great program for you. So as always, Alicia and I will be here to answer questions and try to moderate chat and answer questions live. And at any point in time, as always, if you guys have questions, post them in the chat. I think that is most likely already on whichever platform you're watching us on. So keep those comments coming. There'll be probably some interaction with our presenters today. So Alicia, do you want to start off our panel here? Alicia, hey, you're muted. Ooh. That whole thing was muted, friend.
I am the technology. And so again, just
I thought it was me, so I'm glad that you, yeah.
Thank you. And so Wednesday night. And so would like to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Eberg to introduce herself, who she currently serves as the Dean of the Cohen Honors College. And then she will introduce her panelists with her and her staff. And then we'll get into the presentation. As always, if you have any questions throughout today's session, feel free to drop those in the chat. We will be addressing those as they come in, and we'll go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Alicia. Thanks for inviting us. And as Alicia said, I'm Kimberly Engber. I serve as the Dean of the Dorothy and Bill Cohen Honors College, and I am faculty in the English department in American literature. And I'm joined today by two colleagues who have key positions within the Honors College. And we'll start with a brief introduction from Dr. Reger Marquardt.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chelsea Reger Marquardt. I serve as the Assistant Dean in the Cohen Honors College and also faculty in Organizational Leadership and Learning within the College of Applied Studies. Students affectionately call me Dr. Chelsea, so just if you hear that around campus, know that that's me.
All right, well, I'm Andrew Myers. I'm the Director of Scholarships and Student Services. There wasn't enough characters to put that all in my name there, so I just said Honor Scholarships and Advising, so because that's primarily what I work with students on here and also kind of student development. So I've been at Wichita State for a long time and various other roles, and so just excited to be here in the Honors College.
Thank you to both of you, and I'm gonna try some screen sharing here. I think I did it. So we represent a college that likes to do more meaningful work. If you ask our students what is an honors college or what does honors mean, that's often what you will hear them say. And we wanted to start with some audience interaction. We have a question that we're posing within a system that Dr. Chelsea found that we're going to be using this semester with our students. And she's going to drop that link in the chat. I think it just, do you want to go ahead and drop that one, Chelsea, or you?
So if our tech crew could help me out with that, that would be awesome.
Great. So what we're asking you to do is answer this question. When you hear the word honors, what words come to mind? And we just dropped that link into the comments, our colleagues from Student Affairs, and we're going to ask our colleagues as well to put in some words that they think of when the word honors comes to mind. And we'll start with a little word cloud that registers where we are right now. Chelsea, if I stop sharing, can you pull that up?
I certainly can. You should see this start populating into this word cloud space. They're coming in now.
Perfect. There they are coming in. Okay. Thank you for experimenting a little bit with us for the beginning of this presentation. We wanted to start with a demonstration of where we start in honors, and that is with the students. And we wanted to start with where you are and where you're coming in, and then we'll ask you to do this again at the end. And we're going to today give you an overview of what honors means on our campus. We're going to give you some resources in honors, and we're going to spend more time in that area of resources. And then we're going to leave plenty of time for you to ask us questions. So our presentation piece will be probably about 10 minutes and give you a place to start thinking. We invite you, if you want to ask questions, to go ahead and drop those into the comments, and then we'll address those questions at the end. So again, if you have questions that are coming up for you as you're listening, please go ahead and drop those into the chat, and then we'll pick those questions up in the end. So I love these answers, actually. Good, challenging, scholar, community. That's a fantastic one. Too hard for me. We're going to address that a little bit. And I think in the area of honors advising, and when we talk about the various paths that students can take within honors, we're going to tackle that question of what that means and what we think of when we're talking about honors. So if I can take over the screen again. Wow, you're fast, Dr. Chelsea. I'm not that fast. There we go. Honors is a community of about 700 students. They're following 92 plus different areas of study. What that means is that a student in any major can pursue honors on our campus. We have about 65 faculty from across campus who are teaching honors courses each year. Again, that means they represent many majors, And we are a diverse group of students and faculty in terms of fields, in terms of backgrounds, in terms of values, in terms of all areas that you can think of that come to mind when you think about diversity and when you think about inclusion. We have honor seminar courses that are one of the big draws for students often into honors, that try to preserve a faculty ratio of 15 students to 1 faculty person. Often they're smaller than that. And one of the signature elements of honors at Wichita State is that we really want to support students to excel in the classroom and to explore outside of the classroom. And one of the central features of the naming gift that gave us the Dorothy and Bill Cohen name is a scholarship that is available by application for up to $4,000 to support students to engage in applied learning such as study abroad and research. So I hope that gives you a little idea of who we are, or some reminders if this is familiar to you. And I want you to think about honors as a learning community and as a resource hub. We offer honors student space in Shocker Hall that's open 24 hours. Often the students will say that one of the big benefits of honors is free printing. And that is available within our study areas. We have a kitchen, we have a microwave, we have a fair amount of cooking of ramen, which is another key element of the college experience. We offer dual advising, and our honors academic advisor will talk a little bit more about that. That is helping to guide students on their honors path and to bring honors alongside some of their major work or their other areas of interest. And this year we are launching an honors colloquium, which is a space for our first year honors students in particular to connect with honors students, faculty, staff, learn about these opportunities, and begin to reflect on their own learning. And I made a reference to this idea that honors is a place where students are supported inside and outside the classroom. So you're going to hear a little bit about the signature experiences within honors, including some leadership and service learning experiences. I'm going to turn it over to Andrew Myers.
Okay. And you want me to share with the video in a little bit? Okay.
Yeah.
We can go ahead and start with that if you like. Okay. Okay. All right. Maximize that. Everyone see that? Or
The Dorothy and Bill Cohen Honors College. Your first experience in your honors journey is in the Honors Colloquium course. You might be wondering what a colloquium is. It's actually Latin for dialogue or conversation. Well, I hope you know that, Will. Been in college a long time. The Honors Colloquium will show up on your transcript as a 0-credit course. It does not affect your GPA. First-year honor students will meet in person twice in the fall semester and then twice in the spring semester. There will also be opportunities to engage in on-campus events with other first-year honors students. Throughout the academic year, students will understand honors resources and expectations. There will be guided activities to help students choose their honors path and understand how their honors classes could enhance their overall learning experience. You will connect to honors students and faculty through a selection of on-campus events throughout the year. In the Cohen Honors College, we believe in meaningful work. The Honors Colloquium will have opportunities for students to engage in informed and collegial dialogue in diverse groups. Students will record their experiences throughout the Honors Colloquium and will complete a reflective online e-portfolio at the end of the year. If you have any questions about the Honors Colloquium or the Cohen Honors College in general, please reach out. We will be available throughout the summer.
So Andrew, I think the volume was soft, but you can talk that through a little bit and try Trying
Yeah,
to
the
do.
volume's soft. I
Yeah.
didn't mean to upload it to YouTube, and then people like turn it on and get blasted. So, so essentially, that video, we just thought, we're doing this kind of new thing. It's the 0 credit hour, and it's a required part of first year honor students to take part in. And so we want to make sure that they are getting enrolled in that. So we created a video. Sometimes you can send out a message and it either doesn't get read, or maybe it's too text heavy or something like that. And so we thought we'd go with a little bit of a visual experience. And it's a course, and I won't stay too much on it, that we've been working on as a team, primarily Dr. Chelsea and Dean Ingber, and one of our graduate assistants in the office, Aaron Valentine, who's an honors grad.
So Andrew, can you say a little bit about honors advising, just as a follow-on to the colloquium, which, as you said, it's about students understanding honors requirements and opportunities. It's about connecting with honors students. It's about engaging. Can you talk a little bit about honors advising and how that works?
Right, absolutely. So this is a partnership, right? So in terms of advising in the Honors College, if you're not getting the Honors Baccalaureate, which is our bachelor's degree, then you will have a major advisor in another department on campus. And I try to work then in partnership with them, and based on the classes you need to take for your major, and then also classes for your track. And the nice thing is that a lot of our classes, our honors classes, can also meet general education requirements. So a lot of times students think, well, if I join honors, it's gonna add on to my degree. I'm gonna take another semester, a year, or something like that, and that's really not the case. It's an opportunity for you to go alongside with what you're studying in your major, right? And then using honors to enhance your knowledge. And we talk about that meaningful work, and you're able to dig a little bit deeper into the areas that you're most interested in. And so what we are liking to do with the colloquium then is it's an opportunity for us to get to know you as a student and try to kind of tailor your honors path towards your academic and career goals. And that's something that we can do within the honors, because we have a little bit more academic freedom, if you will, in terms of how you piece those things together. But at the same time, again, what we do advising wise in honors does not supersede what you do with your advisor in your major. So I keep copious notes, make sure everybody's aware of what we're talking about. But beyond classes, I'll also help you with, well, I don't know who to turn to if I want to do this independent research, or I really want to do a travel seminar or a study abroad, and can kind of help them kind of look through that as well. So plus tapping into all the resources that are already on campus. We're not the end all be all place. There's a lot of professionals on this campus that are experts in those areas. And we just make sure that you're connected with the right people as well.
Thanks, Andrew. So we're emphasizing the idea that honors comes alongside you and your degree. This is a place where you can amplify your degree. And one of those areas of amplification is what we call signature experiences in honors. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Chelsea to talk a little bit about what that means.
Absolutely. Thank you. So one of the great things about honors is creating these cohorts of community, of peers, of faculty that you're working with and wrestling with, a complex idea or a real world problem, or working with a local nonprofit organization. So on the screen, you can see a couple of photos from 2 signature experiences that are housed in the leadership and service learning areas within the Honors College. But I think in general, the concept of signature experiences are those sort of transformative moments that I always tell students, they make you stop and ponder and maybe make things a little bit more complex, and you're more curious and you're kind of wrestling with what those moments look like, and you're going to remember them, right? You're taking some mental photos, some snapshots of what you're thinking in those times and places. The first photo you see up here is from a group of students and faculty that traveled to Zion National Park and worked in a service learning immersive week in January during the pre-session right before your spring semester began. It's called BILLS Trip, which stands for Building Investment in Lifelong Leadership and Service. And so with Zion National Park Rangers, those co-educators, students were in a course called Leading Through Serving, and understanding the complexities of servant leadership and of stewardship, reading some selected readings from a Zion reader, learning about the Native and Indigenous cultures to the areas, and doing service work throughout the week. Everything from invasive species removal to trail cleanup to understanding the water quality within Zion. So really cool ways to learn. And that is a concept that's really part of honors, right? And so Lead for Tomorrow, the other piece there, has some similarities to BILLS Trip in and of a group of students, immersive in a travel component, but with this annual leadership focus and paired with some local nonprofit organizations. This year's groups worked with First Tee of Greater Wichita and ICT Food Rescue. All of this was done in an umbrella called Places Tech. So instead of reading about something, go somewhere and read about it, read the space, read the places, read the people. And those are what make these honors moments, those signature kind of standout moments for our students. And so we really like to give students these opportunities in their different years within the Honors College.
Thank you. And I'm going to remind everyone that you can drop questions in the chat. We're going to give you highlights of honors, but we are happy to answer questions about any details. And that includes what honors requirements are. I hope you're getting the sense that our goal is to think in terms of what deepens, broadens, or adds complexity to your college experience. And that can happen in many different ways. That can happen in courses, which is traditionally what people think about when they think about honors. You might be coming from advanced placement or through the IB program, and you think about honors primarily in terms of more difficult content. That certainly can be an element of honors. And we expect that students are coming in highly motivated. We also expect that students are coming in with a wide range of goals and ambitions. And some of those things that Dr. Chelsea is talking about are about students learning about themselves, students giving back to a community. So the idea that you're coming into college to develop your talents, and that when we develop talents, we are also putting ourselves in the position to lift others up. So not only in the areas of leadership and service learning, but consistently throughout your honors experience, what we really want you to think about is, how are you contributing to a community? Your talent may be in the lab. Your talent may be in the library. Your talent may be in an area of service and leadership. So the multiple ways that you can earn honors credit are touching on those multiple ways of developing your talents and giving back to academic or civic or professional communities. So the curriculum requirements are really designed with those goals. So we're going to now ask you to do one final participation piece, and we'll see if we can make this go a little bit faster. And Chelsea, you might drop that. Do you have that link again? I'll share the screen. We'll try to get the link dropped into the comments, and we're going to ask for one more. When you hear the word honors now, what words come to your mind? And we'll do this one a little bit more quickly. You'll be able to see it as you're populating your words. So it's not always going to be coming as quickly onto the screen.
While we wait for some of those to come through, there were a couple questions, Dean Imberg, that came in through the chat that I will go ahead and ask if that's okay.
Right. Perfect.
And so the Marshall family wanted to know if students can also join the Honors College LLC related to their major, or should they just stick with the Honors LLC?
Andrew, do you want to answer that, or do you want me to take that? Because Andrew's going to
Right.
he's our coordinator of the LLC.
Yeah, I mean, the differences between the Honors LLC and then like a major LLC is that our LLC grouping is smaller than say like a larger floor. So if you're looking for like a honors or a residence hall floor, like it's a pretty big size group of people everywhere, you can do that. If if you look at within your major and you want to do the LLC with your major, really, our stuff will be obviously more tailored towards a variety of majors, right? And we'll focus on some of the stuff that we've already been talking about in this presentation with regards to, we'll have certain kinds of programming and those kind of things, but we'll still invite other honor students to some of the programming that we do with our LLC. We don't want to exclude anyone on the honors program. So if you're torn and you're like, I really want to go to my major and do that, that's totally fine. But we'll just make sure to keep you plugged into some of the stuff that we're doing within the LLC floor. And it still doesn't mean you can't go up to that floor and hang out with honor students, but you also have the lounge here, which is phenomenal. So really no requirement there. It's really more of a personal preference.
Yep, that's the only thing I was going to just add to be clear, that students who are members of the Honors College are not required to be in the residence hall living learning community in Shocker Hall, but all of those students have access to the student study space and the lounge that's actually in Shocker Hall. So that is not connected to the specific floor that is our first year LLC. About 25 students are in our LLC, and we have more than 100 incoming honors students. So they get their honors learning community broadly in various ways.
So our next question is from Don, and they wanted to know, is this option available to business students, specifically international business? And if so, how would the Honors College program look with respect to departmental tracks?
Honors is an option for any major. And if a student has not yet applied to honors, we actually we have a link that we can share with you. They still may apply. And those students who are in particular majors that have honors tracks, the departmental honors within their major, would be taking, in those cases, some specific courses. Very often the department honors track courses start in their second or third years, so not as often in their first year. I can tell you that we do have some business courses that are popular among our business students, so macroeconomics. We also have a leadership course, which, Chelsea, you may remember the title because it changed recently. And I see you nodding. So you want to say a little bit about the intersection of leadership and business as well, or anything else you want to add?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that is definitely something we see a lot of business students look at the leadership track, the leadership area of emphasis. There's a management course. I believe it's management 467. I will double check that. And that's a course that our students take. It also has some similarities with some of the programming that the Barton School is doing as well. And so we see some of that tracking over. Additionally, we've always had a number of business students that are in the Lead for Tomorrow, that leadership academy I was talking about in the signature experiences. So that seems to align really nicely with some of the academic major content as well for students. And then I'm going to pop that link right into the chat too.
Did that answer, Alicia? Is there anything you think we should
So
add?
kind of along those lines, yeah, no, I think that was great. I think one of the questions also is, so if a student's taken a gen ed course like psychology or communications, but they choose to take that as an honors course, what is the difference in curriculum and what can they really expect in kind of like maybe that course load and the work compared to a standard course?
The honors courses are the way in which they are different will vary by course. So again, I think Dr. Chelsea can say a little bit more about specifically the psychology piece because she works very closely with Sam Slade, who is often our faculty person who teaches psychology. I'll say just in an umbrella term or umbrella sort of way, often the difference is in the approach. So in many honors courses, the expectations are that students are showing up for class, they're engaged in class. When you're in a smaller 15-person class, it's harder to hide. And the faculty will be designing activities that will engage you in that classroom. So many courses, the difference is in the approach. And if you are a student who wants to hide within a psychology or an English class, then you need to know, right, that you're opting into a class where you're going to be expected to be more engaged in that classroom. Some courses are going to be a little more difficult. The calculus sequence courses, that is going to cover more ground and will take a very different approach, expecting more independent learning on the part of the students. Again, Chelsea, anything you want to add specifically with regard to the example that was the psychology example?
No, I think you really, really hit that right in the head that it is about that dialogue. And that's often what the students talk about as their favorite part. They're having the conversations, their faculty know their names, all of those sorts of things, and that they're very comfortable then with the content and the context and feel really prepared to move on to the next piece. And I also wanted to give my point of correction. It was management 462, not 467. So that was the example that is the leadership track.
Perfect. All right, we're getting lots of questions coming in, so I'm trying to keep up. So the Ryan family wanted to know if students are able to join the honors college after the first year, or is it only a freshman year application?
A student may join in the first, second, even third. We've had students join in their senior year and graduate with an honors distinction. That's unusual. So the answer is yes, a student may join after the first year if they decide that they want to get adjusted to college first and then want to apply to the honors college. They may do that. The advantage in applying in the first year is that we have some small merit scholarships that we award to incoming freshman students and incoming transfer students. But as I mentioned, we have those $4,000 scholarships that are by application for students who want to engage in applied learning. We also have scholarships for current students who have high financial need. So we do have ongoing scholarships for those students who are in honors. Of course, we want you to opt in for the fantastic academic experiences, but we also want to make those experiences and the enhancement of your education possible for you, and some of that involves funding.
All right, so very specific. The Marshall family wants to know, I'm an engineering student. Is the honors college a right fit for me, or will it be, maybe too challenging? What are your thoughts?
Well, we have a lot of engineering students in honors. I'll tell you that. Like, that's probably, what do you say, like half?
A third is, yeah.
Yeah, there's
So that's a third of 700. Yeah.
It really, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it really pairs well, especially with some of the coursework that they take, and even there's honors option classes within engineering, especially with aerospace, right? So because you can graduate aerospace with a departmental honors and that kind of stuff too. So yeah, I think sometimes in the past, and again, I think sometimes in the past, our LLC floor has been predominantly engineering, but I'll let anyone else comment.
So I want to talk about two student stories as a way of understanding how an engineering student can use honors. And I say that in a thinking about honors as a tool, right? So Stuart, who is a first year student who came in fall 2022, actually chose to take 2 honors seminars in his first year. And one of those seminars he took is a course on a difficult topic that has to do with history, and history beyond what you read in the headlines. And there's a lot of writing in that class, and it's really, the approach is about thinking beyond what might just come to you in the news bites, right? So he's an engineering student, probably didn't necessarily think he was going to take that class, and loved it. And Stuart is going to go on, and he's going to do internships. You can earn honors credit for internships. He's going to navigate toward some leadership courses. He's also considering a major in honors because he's a musician, and he wants to hold on to taking some courses in music. So Stuart is one example of a student in engineering who is using honors to go beyond the major. But as Andrew said, we have other students who follow a more straight line path. They take their calculus sequence in honors, or they take a differential equations course in honors. They do a leadership course that counts in engineering plus and in honors, and they may do some research in an engineering lab, and that will count within honors. So there are different ways to navigate it. That was maybe a lot of detail. Chelsea, I saw that you were unmuted at one point.
I was just going to give the engineering specific leadership course. So that is engineering 501H, and it's the engineer as a leader, and it's an honors section. So it's a really popular course amongst our engineering students within the college.
Yeah. From someone who spent a lot of time in the College of Engineering, 6 years, I would say being an engineering student and an honor student is a perfect marriage for many reasons. Just because if you're wanting to be challenged, if you're wanting a out of the box experience, the honors college definitely helps provide that. And a lot of the things that are requirements for the College of Engineering can also duplicate and meet requirements for the honors college. And so typically a lot of times students would say, oh, I'm going to have to do a lot of extra work just within the honors college. But the beauty of it is that when you sit down and talk about what that journey and expectation and path looks like, you're actually kind of feeding one and the same, and just changing course requirements. So instead of taking Calc 1, the traditional method, you're going to take Calc 1 as an honors. Like, Dr. Chelsea had talked about the leadership and Engineering Plus and those requirements transferring over. And so if your student wants a more personalized experience, it's a phenomenal way for them to get that and more within the partnership with the Honors College. Another question that came in is that Kathy Lucy asked, her daughter is interested in planetary science, so she may need to do an exchange program, and they noticed that the Honors College has some space-related classes. Would this be beneficial to her?
So I don't know, either of you two you probably know more about a recent grad who worked in our office, Asia. If you want to share that anecdote.
Yeah, we have a couple of examples. One would be Asia, who just was a student assistant in our office. So she came into honors, and then we've known her now as well since she was a first-year student. She just graduated. She's going to the University of Wisconsin, and she's going into her major was in physics, she's a good example of a student who she navigated through honors and used some of her research within physics, and that counted toward her honors credits. The second student that I was thinking of, a student named Whitney, also just graduated, engineering major, was president of the Rocket Club for a couple of years. And Whitney did take some of the classes that you're referring to. So Professor Radcliffe, who actually is someone who works within industry and travels all over the world and installs observatories and is a astrophotographer, teaches our honors dynamic universe, Big Bang black holes. Those are open to all students. He makes science very accessible. Our engineers often gravitate toward them because they can count as a technical elective in some of the engineering majors. And those students who are in physics or other areas, so you mentioned planetary science, gravitate toward those because what he's asking students to do in those courses is track what's happening, what's emerging in astronomy in the news, and they are doing projects based on some of these big leaps forward in the area of astronomy. Again, I'm going to ask Chelsea if there's anything that she wants to add to that. Okay. And Alicia, do you know Whitney? Because I saw you nod. Yeah, she's great. So yeah.
I will add too, like from an advising standpoint, a lot of times, and I was a college counselor for 7 years too at high school, is especially with something more very specific, like you have this passion, right? Your daughter has a passion for planetary science, and there's a lot through like what the dean was talking about, whether it's a class or an applied learning experience or something that digs deeper. But typically, there are some academic fields where you just know that you're probably going to go to graduate school to focus a little bit more into that funnel, right? And so those are some of the conversations that we have with students here is, okay, what's your end goal, right? And so, well, I want to do this. And so then we can explore those options, and then can get you in contact with folks in career development, applied learning. So there's a lot of different ways to achieve academic and career goals. And this is being in honors is a great opportunity for you to ask questions, because we want you to ask questions, and then we kind of find out the answers and figure out what we need to do from there.
Can I just add, so I can talk about, these students are fantastic, right? So while you were talking, this made me remember too, that one of the things that Whitney got engaged with through Professor Radcliffe was this big telescope at Bethel College, which is not too far away, she started doing some research. This was a telescope that's relatively new that he was involved in installing there. And so through that class, she found this other avenue of interest and engaged in research, specifically testing out that new telescope. But she was telling me, as she's getting closer to graduation, that what she really wants to do this summer and as a kind of gap year is work in a national park. And Chelsea, I don't know if you knew that, but so the range of interest that students are coming in with, and that sort of passion for science education, I just wanted to register that particularly with Whitney. And the question I know was also, would honors be beneficial for this student? The other piece of it, I think you were asking, was about doing an exchange program. And that's where some of that scholarship funding can be particularly beneficial. At the moment, when a student applies for that, we have enough funds that we've been able to fund every student who has applied up to this point. And if we get to the point that we can't, we're going to start looking for more money.
That is awesome. I think, hearing all of the amazing things about the Honors College, the one thing that I can say is that, in my experience in working with students who've gone through the curriculum and the program and engaged at every level, it's truly a personalized experience for the student. And getting to work hand in hand with faculty, with the dean, it is a very close, tight-knit community where students really know each other. They have smaller class sizes, being able to engage in other experiences that they may not have been able to gain elsewhere. And I think that's really, for me, the selling point of the Honors College is being able to create that. And so, I remember when I was in engineering working with a student who wanted to go study abroad in Germany, and working with the Honors College of, okay, what classes can I take there that could, meet requirements? And then also, I'm really interested in this research and how will that play out in this? And it was through the Honors College, I believe, that we were able to make that connection with this institution, because they had the very specific area that a discipline that they're wanting to actually specialize in that we didn't have at Wichita State. And so being able to use that network and all of the resources that our faculty had and making sure that we're able to give students that experience is really, I would put, second to none. And so I think our faculty and staff within the Honors College do an amazing job of meeting our students where they're at, getting them connected, and helping them get to where they need to be. And ultimately that's, graduating with a successful degree and experience, and walking away being a proud shocker. And so thank you to our Honors College faculty and staff for engaging with us today. I'm trying to check and make sure that there's any other questions that have rolled in.
I have two questions. Alicia, I got two questions. One is personal because so my oldest is a junior and he's in honors classes in high school. He's taking AP coming up, and he does not have homework, which blows my mind that he doesn't have homework. So I tell students when they're coming through orientation, this is going to be a little bit different. Homework is work you do at home in college. So can you maybe speak to that difference in, these motivated, highly motivated students who have leadership roles in their high schools, who might be athletes, who are honors and AP and IB students, who also want to work? Like, how does that get managed? And what is that study load kind of maybe not expectation, but what do you see among your students? What, are they studying all night, or are they in groups? What might that look like when you're trying to balance all those interests?
I see the wheels turning a little bit for Andrew. So I'll say just a couple of things. And one of those is that of course, you've pointed to something that can be one of the biggest challenges for our students. And that we sometimes talk about it as independent learning or time management, right? Then when they talk about it in, say, the first year seminar that I teach in honors, they talk about it as, well, it seemed like I had all this time. And I had to figure out, how did I organize all of that time? Because my classes didn't meet as often. And I had, sometimes my faculty sent me reminders, but I had to figure out ways to remind myself and to break down some of that work so that I could get it done, because I couldn't do it as quickly, right? And so certainly within the honors first year seminars, we try to get out ahead of that as early as we can. We can't always, right? I mean, students have a lot of resources on this campus, as you know, in student success, right? But we try to have those conversations with them early on, and that's one of the goals as well of what we're now calling this colloquium space, which is just a word for saying we're going to gather you together a couple times in the semester, and we're going to talk about some of those things that we see you facing as honors students, and we're going to try to get resources that are, of course, about maximizing your honors experience, but also really think about, particularly what's that transition like for students who might be used to being able to do things really quickly, or not having to organize their time as much because they don't have these big gaps between classes, and they are just kind of, moving from course to course, throughout the day. So I don't know if that fully answers your question. And Andrew, you may want to add from.
I'll address the high school part, right? So we get this a lot. It's like, well, I take AP classes, or I take this honors or this IB, right? So whatever that is, some schools will weight that in your GPA and that kind of thing. And I think the biggest difference here is that a lot of that coursework, especially with like the AP and the IB, that's predetermined, right? So it's like, this is an approved curriculum across all of AP, like all of College Board. So, and all of International Baccalaureate, whatever it is. The nice thing here within our honors is that, of course, Wichita State has higher learning commission. We have to stay accredited and those kind of things, but we don't have to, we mentioned the Big Bang Black Holes class. We don't have to adhere to like a certain, like program or whatever. It's within that department. So if it's within physics, and they're like, yeah, we want to touch upon this because then it pairs well with this class in our degree, or So I think a lot of times when you think about, because I was in honors courses in high school a long time ago, and it felt like just busy work, right? But what we do here that's different, rather than we're going to cram all this information into you, it's that seminar approach where we're going to discuss it. You're going to ask questions, and we're going to kind of take a deeper dive with it along those ways, and kind of piggyback on what Dean Ingber says in terms of like, support systems with like organizing your time and that kind of thing. Lots of that on campus. Also, even here in house, we've got Dr. Chelsea, who has a lot of experience in helping students with regard to organizing their time and seeing how you can kind of space that out.
Kim, the one other thing I would maybe add into the don't have homework piece, right? Because I think that's very real. I think homework sometimes can look very different in a college setting, and you're going to have homework in all your classes, spoiler alert. But it's oftentimes about preparing for the next in class or next thing. And so it's a way that you're benchmarking through content and getting ready for. And then particularly in these honors seminars, I like to use a pretty flipped classroom approach that you're in small groups and you're engaged and doing. So you're motivated to do that because you have peers that you're going to come in and discuss with, and they're in a way keeping you accountable to, oh, you did the thing too, and I did the thing, and now we can talk about the thing, right? So I think that's another way to think about the homework in the preparation piece.
That's really helpful because I think just with changes in K-12, certainly since, I was in honors classes too in high school a longer time ago than Andrew. But yeah, that was kind of, it's kind of hard to conceptualize until you break it down. Like, this is a seminar type experience. The experience in the classroom is different, and it might not be harder work, it's different work. And I've heard you all say that a few times. So that's really helpful. My last question is kind of not, well, it's not honors related, but it is to Dean Ingber. Can you explain the role of a dean and how students may or may not, interact, and what does that look like? I know that varies among colleges and departments and all of that, but a lot of students come in and they're like, oh, the dean, or oh, the provost. And I'm like, how many people know what a provost is? Nobody knows what a provost is. How many knows what the registrar? Nobody knows what a registrar is. So can you kind of demystify what a dean is? Because you have a lot of engagement with your students. And so can you talk about that just a brief minute or two?
So you must know that now I'm curious what you would say a dean is. So how do deans think of themselves? I'll start there. The standard way to talk about it would be as one of within a college, which is usually an organization of a lot of different departments or subject areas, right? So College of Engineering organizes engineering into a unit that can make decisions, right? And the dean is the academic officer that is then overseeing all of that activity. And so that is more typically probably how deans think of their roles. The dean's role at a university, of course, has changed in a lot of recent years. So we also have a lot of external facing kinds of things that we do, that we talk with donors like Dorothy and Bill Cohen, right? Because the university is engaging externally, and the dean is the face of that university. I think honors is not totally different, but it's a little bit different because we are a multidisciplinary environment. We don't really have those different departments inside of honors. And that's why, and you know this because we've known each other for many years, that's why I like honors. There's a much more direct connection to the students. So deans in other colleges will sometimes have more connection to the faculty. Not that they're not interested in the students, but the students may not as often see them. Although I think we do a lot on this campus to try to demystify that, as you said. And the dean and the dean's office is always a resource for students on a college campus. So a student should always feel that they can walk in the door of that dean's office if they are excited about something, if they are frustrated about something. The dean and the dean's office it is a resource. It may not always be the first step, but it is there for the students, and it is not separate from the students. So again, I don't know if that fully answered your question, but another time you can tell me what you think a dean is.
Yeah, no, I think deans, fill multiple, wear multiple hats and fill multiple roles. And I know there's a lot of pride in the academic unit or college, that each dean represents. And, and that's to be commended. Typically, the deans have been former faculty members. And so they understand that faculty and they're passionate about the area in which they serve and lead. And so I know, as an example tonight, you all really love telling the success stories. And sometimes that comes out of adversity. Your students overcome a lot, especially, on a campus like Wichita State, where we have almost half of our students are first gen, and, 45% of our students coming in. And, it's really the size of our institution is nice because the deans have the opportunity to really work with those students and understand their stories and then tell those stories to other people. So no, I just think, are they a principal? Am I in trouble if I ever get something from the dean? And no, that's not the case. We're not punitive, in higher ed. We try to do outreach and support, to make sure that our students are successive. So no, I think that was right on. So, all right. Thank you for answering my questions. I'll turn it back over to
we
Alicia.
Chief cheerleader. I think that's students and faculty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would say, I think it does say a lot that, our dean and associate dean and Andrew, took time out of their schedule to join us this evening. It's not every day that we get deans who are eager to join us and wanting to, jump in and make this connection. But I would say that is something that is definitely, specific to the Honors College is, again, that personal connection and having an advocate and a cheerleader and support system with you every step of the way. And that's through academic advising and the classroom. And even, when it just comes to life challenges, I can't tell you how many times Dean Ingberg has called me and said, hey, I have this student. What can we do for them? How can we help support them? And it may be things that have nothing to do with academic, but we know life has happened. And so it's having, that tribe and support system and network on campus and making sure we're providing them with all of the resources, our students need to be successful. And I think, our Honors College does a phenomenal job at doing just that. And so thank you all for everything that you do and for joining us this evening. Before we go, I would like to have the drum roll, please. Tonight's winner of our parent giveaway for the Shocker Family Table Talk is Holly Scherkel. And so, Holly, you have won the Shocker blanket. Yay. It's a lovely Shocker fleece throw. So that will be coming to you in the mail. Congratulations, Holly. Again, if you, we have a parent session coming up every week. And so next week, feel free to join us. You can go to wichita.edu/family and check out the long list of other sessions we have this summer. There will be a drawing for free family giveaways at each of our sessions. We look forward to continue connecting with you and ultimately in a few short weeks, seeing you and your family on campus, whether during move-in or new student orientation. Thanks for joining and have a great evening. Bye-bye.